What's up guys, this is Yacineygo. So I've already made a video on Yummy as well as on the Dragon Tail deck, so I figured why not make a video on K9, which is the newer deck that we're going to be getting at the exact same time as the other two that I just mentioned. And it's pretty good, it has a lot of really nice plays that it can do, so yeah, this is my combo video and deck profile. But yeah, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Of course, smash the like, subscribe button, blah, 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 and check out my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet in my website. The link will always be at the very top of the description box below. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so in this combo, all I have is K9 66A Jocool, and any K9 monster doesn't have to be anything specific. So we're going to be going effective Jocool in order to summon itself as well as any other K9 monster from the hand. And then we're going to be using its on-field effect to search a non-Aqua K9 monster from your deck to your hand, so basically anything other than itself. And that is going to be your Lantern, and we're going to be going for Ripper. So now it's actually really funny how this card is pretty much safe from Ash, Veiler, not Imperm, and it's also safe from Nibiru because it can negate any monster effects that activates in the hand or graveyard by detaching material. It's really nasty. It's really dumb that you can go into a Duo Drive that also protects itself from hand traps. I can't believe that this is modern card design, but whatever. And this card is kind of like a baby Duo Drive, but you only search one K9 card from your deck to your hand. Still good enough, and if your opponent activated a monster effect this turn, you can also, as an added bonus, set a K9 quickly spell from your deck or graveyard. But yeah, we're going to be using its first effect to search the Izuna, and then we're going to be going Lantern effect, summon itself, as well as a K9 from the graveyard. And this is going to be summon number 5, so the opponent could Nibiru us here, but we can just negate it with the Ripper, so it doesn't matter. And then we can go, okay, Lantern effect to search a K9 spell or trap card. That is going to be the X-Forced Liberation. And then overlay for the Imperial Princess Query, because these two monsters, they cannot be used for the Xyz summon of a light monster, so there's pretty much nothing else that you can really do at this point. And yeah, this is going to be reviving back your Lantern, and then normal summon the Izuna. And then that is going to be Foolishing for the Lupus, and in a world in which your opponent was foolish enough to use a monster effect, you can really hard punish him for that, because now we can go Lupus effect, revive itself back. And in this situation, we can even go for Paradise Smasher, which is honestly only worth making if you can use it with 3 level 5 monsters, otherwise it's going to backfire really often. But if you have 3 materials underneath, there's like a 92% chance that you can Azathoth lock your opponent. It's really broken. It's basically Shockmaster. And there's also like a 4% chance it backfires on you, and I think like a 3% chance that it just does nothing. But yeah, basically both players are going to be rolling 2 dices, and the player that gets the highest total cannot use monster effects until the end of the next turn. But if you have a third material, you can manipulate one of the dice rolls and treat it as a 7. So if, for example, you roll a 4 and a 1, and your opponent also rolls a 4 and a 1, you can make it so that your opponent's 1 becomes a 7, therefore your opponent rolls an 11 while you roll the 5, and your opponent cannot use monster effects. It's really funny. Usually you want to, beat your opponent at the dice roll game, but in this situation you're trying to roll as low as possible. And yeah, the opponent basically can't do jack shit, though that's a nice deck that you got there, and also you can keep interrupting the opponent even more, because you can go into the X-Werewolf using the X-Forced Liberation, and also destroy a card the opponent controls without targeting, as a part of the resolution of X-Forced Liberation. And we're not done yet, because the Werewolf can also, banish something from your opponent's hand until the end phase whenever your opponent activates a card or effect. So it has a lot of nice applications. And also the Imperial Princess Query. Next turn, it can just detach to summon back another level 5 monster from your graveyard. And if a level 5 monster you control is destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 5 monster from your deck. So yeah, you never run out of gas this card. It keeps replacing your monsters, and also the monsters themselves, they also search like monsters and spells and traps. So yeah, obviously the follow-up is going to be way more than enough to kill the opponent. Okay, so in this situation, I'm going to have Kashtira Unicorn as well as Jocool, which is basically the best K9 monster in this deck. It starts with a K, there you go, so it has a lot of nice synergy with Kashtira, not really, but whatever. So yeah, special summon Unicorn, and then normal summon the Jocool. You really want to play around Jewel and Logbird, so you prioritize the search of the Jocool first. This is going to be searching the Lantern, of course. And Unicorn can search the Birth. Even if you have like Fenrir instead, it doesn't really change anything, because we're going to be linking them off into Link 2 anyways, just so that the Lantern can now revive back your Jocool. And then this is where we can start playing the game, because now the Lantern can search the X-Forced Liberation, and then we can go into Ripper. Ripper can search for the Izuna, and we're not actually going to be summoning this monster from the hand, even if we still have our normal summon, or if your opponent used a monster effect this turn, doesn't matter, we're just going to keep it for next turn. And this is a good enough board, as crazy as this may sound. Well, after using Birth to revive back Unicorn, no shit. But if that was a Fenrir, then obviously the only thing that we're going to be missing would be the Birth and the Unicorn. and we would still have like SP, Ripper, a bunch of cards in hand, X-First Liberation, and Izuna. And even though it doesn't look like a lot, this is actually 6 disruptions. So yeah, you're going to be setting the X-First Liberation on the opponent's turn. Look at the flow of execution. So our opponent uses a monster effect in the hand or in the graveyard. We can go Ripper negate, and then obviously the Unicorn can rip a card. And also, if our opponent activates a spell card on the resolution, we can banish exactly 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard face down. So yeah, Kashtira Birth interacts really well against like a Engraver, into Tract, into Luri. Even if your Unicorn wasn't trying to like banish a Requiem, you can banish something else. And then the Fiendspit cards get taken care of using the Kashtira Birth, so this is always good against pretty much everyone. And then we've got the X-First Liberation, which is going to be another interruption because we can transform the Ripper into Werewolf and then destroy the Unicorn. And then this is where it gets really interesting. So since our opponent tried to use a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, we can special summon the Izuna during either main phase. And on the summon, this card is going to be a Foolish Burial for a K9 monster. So we're again going to be Foolishing the Lupus. And this card can also summon itself from the hand or graveyard whenever the opponent used a monster effect. So we're going to be reviving back. And as a quick effect on the field, we can Quick Exceed. So we can overlay into Nash Knight, and then this can also have a quick effect like attach Exceed monster that is a number between 101 and 107 from your extra deck to attach back another face-up monster on the field to it. So yeah, this is interruption number, I don't even know, and then we also have SP and the Werewolf that can banish something from your opponent's hand until the end phase. So it's actually really good against K9. If they try to go like Reveal, you can go Chain Banish until the end phase, and then the monster just doesn't get summoned. So yeah, the mirror match actually looks extremely cancerous. I really am not looking forward to it. But yeah, this is what you can do with only 2 cards, and then you still have a bunch of other cards in your hand. You have a really nice follow-up. So I would really not sleep on this deck. It's much better than what people are giving it credit. Okay, so this is going to be the turn 0 combo that you can do, which I think is actually really cool. So let's say your opponent activates Engraver into Tract, into Luri, or just Tract into Luri, right? At any moment, since your opponent used the Tract, the Luri, since it is a monster effect that activates on the field or in the graveyard, in a hand or in the graveyard, we can go Izuna, and then Izuna effect ascend the Lupus, and then Lupus revive itself back, and then Quick Exceed into Nash Knight, and then again, we can absorb that Luri to our Nash Knight. So yeah, this is turn 1 of our opponent's turn, and we can interrupt the opponent already. It's kind of cool. Or you can go into Ripper, and then Ripper can negate the graveyard effect of the Luri, and then next turn we can go Ripper effect a search, and then we have like lethal already. Like the game just started, you interrupted your opponent, and you already have like an Exceed monster on the field that can search any K9 card, and then you can search like a, I don't know, Joe Cool to search the Lantern, and then Lantern can revive back the Izuna Foolish again, and then you got like 4 level 5s on the field. You can make like another rank 5 or something. You can do everything that you want in this deck if you have the ability to set up early. So yeah, I think the only issue that I might have with K9 at the moment would be that sometimes you might have a little bit of a slow start, or maybe your opponent doesn't use any monster effect in the hand or grave. But if your opponent does, if it's like the right format for this deck, I actually think it could be really nasty. Okay, for the deck profile, I'm gonna make this short and sweet, and again, trying to make this as understandable as possible, just so that everybody has an idea of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm playing 3 Izuna. So this card, already you should know what it does. They all kind of have the same clause where if your opponent has 2 or more cards in hand, you can normal summon them without tributing. I think this is the only exception, the Lupus. Either way, this is just a one of. But yeah, Izuna, when it's normal or special summoned, it foolishes a K9 card from your deck to the grave. Typically, you're trying to send Lupus, but I can see the argument of sending the X-First Liberation or the LC Liberation, which I think kind of sucks. But maybe I also suck with the deck, and maybe this card is better than I think. But I think this card is much better than the other one. But yeah, usually you're trying to send the Lupus because that has a graveyard effect and it's a monster. Whereas the spell, it's a little slow, it's not the best. And the trap card also, it does nothing if you don't already have a spell in the grave. So yeah, these cards are just one-ups to my eyes. Yeah, Izuna doesn't actually do anything on its own unless your opponent used a monster effect in the hand or grave. Again, it's a very reactive deck, which might be an issue for some, and might be really cool for others because it's also very interactive. Yeah, anyways, 3 copies of the 66B Lantern doesn't really do that much on its own because at the current moment, searching a K9 spell or trap isn't the best, but at any moment, I could actually see this card being a great starter because if we can search like a Rhoda for the deck, that would be broken. That would be just the same thing as you know, the 66A Jokul. But this one is for sure the better one because this searches a monster. So yeah, search into this, and then this revives back a monster. You have so many bodies on the field, and then you can start playing the game. And when you summon the Ripper, this is where you know you've won because your opponent can't really Ash or Veiler or Nibiru you anymore. So yeah, one hand trap will absolutely never beat you. And this deck is really it punishes hand traps like there is no tomorrow. It's really crazy. And by the way, these monsters are level 5 Aqua and Pyro monsters that are darks. So both of them can be searched by chaotic elements, and this card is the nuts. It searches both of these cards, first of all, but also it has a bonus effect where you can also destroy a card on the field if you have like 3 or more Pyro and or Aqua monsters in your grave, but that's rarely gonna come up because you're gonna have like 3 out of 6 in the grave. So unless this is like a grind game thing, good luck. Yeah, but the graveyard effect is broken because if you're going second against Raziel, you win the game on the spot, like actually. If your opponent controls a light or dark Pyro or Aqua monster, you can banish it from the grave, then target one monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. Complete insanity. I can't believe this is like a Rhoda and a mind control at the same time. So the fact that this card, that is like theoretically broken on paper, is finally good in a deck really makes me happy. And I've been saying this actually ever since I read this card for the first time. It like the card pool of light and dark Pyro or Aqua monsters is trash. It's horrendous. It's like Testina and Ashend, and then Danger Nessie. But then we have 2 actual real legitimate monsters that can be searched in a real actual deck that you can search finally with chaotic elements. So yeah, this does feels really good. And also this deck can play 7 Tachyon because it is an Xyz based strategy anyways. So yeah, you can reveal your Battling Boxer Comet Cestus as well as the Horror Masquerade in order to search these monsters or this, because this is a level 5 warrior monster for your Battling Boxer. The only one that's not searchable I think is Lupus, but nobody gives 2 shits because this card is dog shit anyways, and there's no reason to search something that you can just foolish with the Izuna. In other words, 7 Tachyon basically searches anything in the deck, except, yeah, these cards, but 1 7th Ascension just so that we play more starters, as well as Prosperity, because the extra deck space for the most part is very loose. There's a lot of cards that you can just easily cut. You can, like, easily banish, like, the 3rd Ripper, and then, like, maybe Typhon, Zeus, the Dark Knight Lancer, some of these 7 Tachyon targets, for example, the Volcasaurus, the Hound, the Werewolf, whatever. It depends on if you plan on using X First Liberation of the Trap or not. You can even banish this, the SP. The Prosperity it's pretty good in this deck, I think. And then, yeah, one of each of these cards, I think they're bricks. They really do nothing on their own, like, at all, so that's kind of unfortunate. So I really wouldn't see myself playing more than 1 copy of each. And also, I don't really feel like this card does much of anything, because even though it's easier to use, it also feels worse because it doesn't actually also destroy a card on the field, whereas this does, even though, like, you have to target a K9 Xyz, whereas this, it's a K9 Xyz or a rank 5 Xyz, but, like, I don't care, because summoning Werewolf is not even that good. But yeah, that's it for the K9 cards, and then I am playing a Kashtira package, so 1 Unicorn, 1 Birth, a triple Fenrir. I just wanted more win conditions in the deck, because, yeah, sure, I could have played more hand traps, but is that really gonna help me out? Most likely not, right? I still need like a little bit more of a push, you know? And I do think that these cards are just really good overall to play. And I'm still able to play a decent amount of hand traps overall. So yeah, 3 Foros, 3 Valor, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and then 2 Nibiru. So that's 14 hand traps as well as a Called by the Grave. So yeah, 15 non-engine as well as triple Fenrir and, you know, everything else. So yeah, pretty much half of your deck, I want to say, are decent non-engine cards that will help you out quite a lot going second. And also, Izuna can be a hand trap going second, so yeah, I don't really feel like this deck should struggle too much going second. And yeah, for the extra deck, 1 Zeus, of course, Typhon, Werewolf, Dark Knight Lancer, Masquerade, as well as Comet Cestus for 7 Tachyon. And then the Hound, which, it's not really good. It really doesn't do much of anything. Volcasaurus, yeah, sure, I mean, it's basically a Black Ship of Corn, but a better card. And then Triple Ripper, 1 Paradise Smasher, which this card might actually get banned. It's really broken, and finally there is a really good deck that can utilize it, so yeah, this is getting problematic. It's the real reason to play this deck. Let's not cap for... I'm not even gonna pretend like this deck is gonna be like broken without this card. It has to utilize this card if it wants to be like unfair, because if you take away Paradise Smasher, there's nothing degenerate that this card can that this deck can do. But yeah, this card can definitely get banned one day. And then Nash Knight, a great card for sure. Imperial Princess as well as SP. I think for the most part this extra deck is fine, but yeah, if you want to change some things up, you can. Dark Knight Lancer, you can't really Xyz summon it using the Kashtiras because it's 3 level 7, but it doesn't matter because you are summoning this card on top of a rank 5 just so that you can make a 4 Material Zeus in case that wasn't obvious enough. But yeah, anyways, we can also play Link Slayer with the Zablaster. The Zablaster is really interesting because it is a level 5 light monster that special summons itself. So with your dark monsters, you can make a light and dark Chaos Angel. and obviously it's an extender if you want to make some more rank 5 plays, whereas Link's Lyric can be good as a board breaker going second against the back row decks. So both options can be looked into. I think these are the best level 5 extenders overall for this deck. Big Eye for the Kashtiras, Gaia Dragon, this card sucks. Dark Knight Lancer is, I mean, it pretty much does the same thing, it's just that, I guess this does piercing damage, but this has higher attack. Whatever, that doesn't really matter too much. Some more rank 7s, who cares? Arsenos and Mayo, Tyrus, which is really hard to summon because you can't really, since it's a light, you can't really summon it with the materials that are brought back with Lantern and Jokul. And then, yeah, the River Stormer, if you want to search Regulus. The Chronomaly Vimana, also hard to summon because it is a light monster. And then Doom Chimera Dragon. You can OTK your opponent maybe with this card, so it might be considered. LC Liberation, I think this card sucks. Battle Guard Echoes, all it does is search a level 5 Earth Warrior from your deck to your hand, then discard a card, so it's actually really copium. All it searches is Izuna, and this card is dog shit. I mean, it doesn't do anything on its own, exactly as I said. And finally, there can only be one, because you got a Warrior, a Pyro, an Aqua, and then some Psychic monsters, so I think this could be a good floodgate, could even be main deck potentially. Yeah, that's it for my Key 9 combo video and deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon with another video. Peace.